50 is potentially going to work on something going at Jay-Z, and he might get involved. A huge issue with Jay-Z with a lot of things. 50 is making a documentary about Jay-Z. He confirmed this by liking a comment on Instagram that asked if Jay-Z was next. Jay-Z's inner circle has started speaking publicly about their experiences with him. The relationship between these two moguls has shifted. Here's how it happened. The confirmation. Jay-Z has long maintained close relationships with powerful figures in the entertainment industry. These relationships were not hidden. They were celebrated, publicized, and used as evidence of his status. This level of closeness is now being scrutinized. People are asking questions about what Jay-Z knew, what he saw, and what he participated in during decades of industry events and private gatherings. In December 2024, 50 Cent posted a drawing of Jay-Z on Instagram that mocked his appearance. The caption read, "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." The joke was obvious. He had already posted it. This type of trolling is signature 50 Cent behavior. He makes the attack, frames it as something that happened to him rather than something he initiated, and then watches as the internet does the rest of the work. But the significant moment came in the comments section with a direct question. My only question, he's next, isn't he? 50 Cent liked that comment. In the world of social media, a like from a verified celebrity account carries meaning. When a YouTuber reached out to Dom KMDA to verify whether the like was real, Dom confirmed it. So I actually DM'd the guy himself and I showed him the photo and I asked him, "Hey, is this a real photo? To 50 like your comment?" He said, "Hey, yes he did." And I was like, "Perfect, perfect. Thank you for confirming. Thought it was photoshopped. Well, appreciate the response." And he said, "I was surprised as well. Didn't see that coming." The timing matters enormously. This came shortly after 50 Cent's documentary project reached #1 on Netflix, outperforming established shows with massive built-in audiences. That project took years to develop, required navigating legal complexities, and demanded interview subjects willing to speak on camera. Its success gave 50 Cent credibility and momentum in the documentary space. He was no longer just a rapper turned businessman. He was now a documentarian with a proven track record. The like on that Instagram comment signaled his next target with unmistakable clarity. There is also the matter of the release date, December 2nd. Jay-Z's birthday falls on December 4th, 2 days later. There is also something that's very interesting that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's the documentary coming out on December 2nd. That Diddy documentary coming out on that date. Literally 2 days later, you have Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, which to me sends a subliminal message to Jay-Z that you're next. So that's crazy. 50 Cent has built his career on subliminal messages, strategic timing, and psychological warfare. Dropping a project that raises questions about Jay-Z's associations just before his birthday fits that pattern exactly. It ensures Jay-Z would spend his birthday not celebrating, but defending, not receiving praise, but answering questions. The feud between 50 Cent and Jay-Z stretches back over 2 decades. It began with 50 Cent's 1999 track, How to Rob, where he name-dropped Jay-Z among other rappers he would hypothetically rob. The song was meant to generate attention, and it succeeded beyond expectations. Jay-Z responded, "I'm all about a dollar. What the 50 cents?" The dismissal was pointed, reducing 50 Cent to his stage name, suggesting he was insignificant. 50 Cent fired back with, "Be a gentleman." Jay-Z never responded to that track. The silence was interpreted differently. Some saw it as Jay-Z taking the high road, others as recognition that continued engagement would only elevate 50 Cent's profile. The two later entered a business relationship through Reebok, which had deals with both men. Doc Carter sneakers and G-Unit sneakers were both part of Reebok's portfolio. This created a temporary truce, or at least a cessation of public hostilities. Business interests superseded personal animosity, as they often do, but the tension never fully dissipated. They operated as frenemies, publicly cordial, privately competitive, each watching the other for signs of weakness. The Super Bowl halftime show in 2022 brought this tension back to the surface, and Eminem confirmed that it was Eminem that pushed for 50 Cent to be there, and that Eminem wouldn't be a part of the show.
He has joked that Jay-Z reached out to thank him for not including him in the Netflix documentary, almost certainly trolling, but revealing of his mindset. When 50 Cent was asked to describe Jay-Z in 2 words, his answer was revealing. He called Eminem the best. He called Nas the best. But for Jay-Z, good business. Not legend, not the best, just good business. In 50 Cent's view, Jay-Z's success comes from business acumen, not artistic superiority. This positions Jay-Z as a corporate figure rather than a creative force and reveals the battlefield on which 50 Cent intends to fight. the Rock Nation machine. To understand why a documentary about Jay-Z generates such intense interest and anxiety, one must understand the extraordinary scope of his influence. Jay-Z built Rock Nation into one of the most powerful entities in entertainment. The company manages artists across multiple genres, produces content for film and television, operates a sports division representing world-class athletes, and crucially, curates the NFL Super Bowl halftime show. The halftime show curation alone represents tremendous gatekeeping power. The Super Bowl is the most watched television event in America. Over 100 million viewers watch the halftime performance. Deciding who performs shapes careers and public perceptions. This creates a dynamic where artists must consider their relationship with Jay-Z when making career choices, public statements, and personal decisions. Nicki Minaj has been vocal about her grievances with Jay-Z and Rock Nation, claiming manipulation and narrative control. She has suggested the company operates according to a hierarchy where Jay-Z and Beyoncé sit at the top and everyone else's success is calibrated to ensure it never threatens their primacy. The Grammy Awards have become a focal point for these concerns. In 2024, Jay-Z publicly questioned why Beyoncé had never won Album of the Year. The following year, she won. Because to me, the moment the Grammys thing happened and Jay-Z said, "Why don't you guys ever give Beyoncé Album of the Year?" and then the following year she gets it, it's like, dude, come on guys, like let's question some of what's going on. If somebody complains about something, the next year they adjust it and actually give it to that person for that complaint. This appeared to demonstrate that when Jay-Z publicly demands something, he gets it, even from institutions supposed to operate independently. When criticism of Jay-Z's legacy surfaced on social media, media outlets began publishing articles praising his career almost immediately. And what was interesting is right as that conversation was happening, all of a sudden media outlets were posting, "Oh, Jay-Z's legendary career, how Jay-Z impacted this and that." It was just very weird timing. It's like all of a sudden all these posts started coming out, praising Jay-Z's career, which got you, thinking. The coordination seemed too precise to be organic. It appeared as though a switch had been flipped, a directive sent, and suddenly the narrative shifted from criticism to celebration. Whether this represents actual coordination or simply media outlets chasing trends is debatable, but the perception of control exists regardless. The Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion case has also been cited in discussions about Rock Nation's influence. Some observers believe Rock Nation played a role in shaping the public narrative around that case. Megan Thee Stallion was signed to Rock Nation at the time. Tory Lanez was convicted. The theory, unproven but widely discussed, is that Rock Nation's resources and media relations affected how the story was covered. None of this constitutes proof of wrongdoing. Conspiracy theories are not facts, but it creates an atmosphere of suspicion. When a single entity has influence over music awards, sports events, media coverage, and artist management, questions about how that influence is used become inevitable. The special treatment Jay-Z receives has been documented. I'll never forget, Jay-Z would get this special treatment all the time when it comes to the media. I mean, Hot 97, when they interviewed Jay-Z, they literally rolled out a red carpet. They never did that for any other artist. 50 Cent recognized this dynamic early and positioned himself against it. He has always framed himself as an outsider, someone who succeeds despite the industry, rather than because of it. He operates outside the systems Jay-Z controls. He built G-Unit Records independently.
He produced his documentary content without relying on Rock Nation's infrastructure. This independence gives him freedom that artists signed to major labels do not have. When an artist signed to a major label criticizes Jay-Z, they must consider whether their criticism will affect their career. Will their next album receive proper promotion? Will they be invited to important industry events? Will they face subtle retaliation through reduced radio play or playlist exclusion? These considerations create self-censorship. They ensure that criticism, when it comes, is muted or delivered with enough plausible deniability to protect the speaker. 50 Cent has none of these concerns. His wealth is independent of the music industry. His platform exists on social media, where he controls the message directly. His documentary work goes through streaming services that care about viewership numbers, not industry politics. He can say what he wants and face no professional consequences beyond the possibility of a lawsuit. And even lawsuits are manageable when you have the resources to fight them. This freedom makes him dangerous, and Jay-Z, who has built his empire on controlling narratives and managing relationships, has no equivalent leverage over him. The tools that work on others do not work on 50 Cent. The incentives that silence others do not apply. The consequences that deter others do not exist. This asymmetry explains the tension. Jay-Z cannot make 50 Cent go away.
He cannot buy him off or sign him to a management deal that would create obligations. He cannot exclude him from opportunities 50 Cent has already secured independently. All he can do is wait, watch, and hope 50 Cent's attention shifts elsewhere. So far, it is not. Former allies speak. The most damaging information about any public figure typically comes from those who were once close to them. In Jay-Z's case, former collaborators have begun sharing their experiences in ways that complicate his public image. Beanie Sigel was one of the original artists signed to Rockefeller Records. He was positioned as Jay-Z's protege, a street rapper with authentic credentials. But his career never reached the heights his talent suggested. In a recent interview, he addressed the rumors that Jay-Z deliberately held him back. The economics of this strategy matter. During that era, album sales depended on release timing. A consumer with $20 would have to choose between 2 albums from the same label. If Jay-Z's album dropped the same week, that consumer would almost certainly buy Jay-Z's album. The label profits either way, but Beanie's numbers suffer. Beanie Sigel stopped short of calling it malicious. He said he doesn't believe one man can destroy another's career, but he identified Damon Dash, Jay-Z's former partner, as someone who would know the truth about these decisions. Tyre Kirkland claimed that an executive at Rockefeller told him directly Beanie Sigel was only allowed to sell so many records. There was a ceiling. He could not be bigger than Jay-Z on Jay-Z's own label. Jaz-O, the rapper who mentored Jay-Z before his career began, offers another perspective. His relationship with Jay-Z predates Rockefeller, predates Reasonable Doubt, predates everything. He was present for moments that defined Jay-Z's character before fame, including the shooting of Jay-Z's brother.
So at one point, you know, the You Must Love Me, you know, he talked about he ran in my crib. You know, he ran in my crib because, you bust a gun. I don't care who you are. You get nervous and, you know, you need somewhere to run to.
He brought the gun, now hot, meaning connected to a crime, and dropped it off. Accepting a hot gun meant accepting potential criminal liability. When asked why he would take that risk,
So you're tying yourself into a shooting at this point. It's my brother. He's my brother. Not biological brother, but a bond forged in shared struggle.
Jaz-O was willing to risk his freedom for Jay-Z. The years that followed tested that belief. Jay-Z's career ascended while Jaz-O stalled. The relationship fractured, and now Jaz-O speaks openly about moments Jay-Z might prefer remained private. This pattern repeated throughout Jay-Z's career. Those who helped him early often found themselves left behind as he climbed higher. The loyalty that flowed upward from associates to Jay-Z was not always matched by loyalty flowing downward.
This is not unique to Jay-Z. The music industry is littered with stories of artists who forgot those who helped them. But the consistency of the pattern in Jay-Z's case has created a reservoir of potential witnesses, former allies with stories to tell and grievances to air. 50 Cent understands this dynamic. A documentary does not require inventing claims or fabricating evidence. It requires finding people who were there, who saw what happened, and who are now willing to speak. Jaz-O is one such person. Beanie Sigel is another. Dame Dash has been speaking publicly for years. The question is not whether such witnesses exist, but whether enough of them can be assembled to create a coherent narrative that withstands legal scrutiny. Each interview that former associates give, each detail they reveal, each grievance they express adds to potential material for a documentary. Whether 50 Cent uses this material or not, it exists, it circulates, it shapes public perception, and it reminds Jay-Z that his past is not safely buried. It lives in the memories of people who have no reason to protect him anymore. The allegations. In December 2024, Jay-Z was named as a defendant in a civil lawsuit. A woman identified as Jane Doe claimed Jay-Z had assaulted her when she was 13 years old. The lawsuit was originally filed against another individual and amended to add Jay-Z. Jay-Z issued a statement to E! News. He called the claims heinous and the attorney, Tony Buzbee, a deplorable human. He accused Buzbee of blackmail. Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, issued a statement to E! News hours after the suit was refiled, addressing the lawyer who filed it, Tony Buzbee. Calling the allegations heinous, Jay-Z calls the lawyer a, quote, deplorable human and accuses him of blackmail. According to Buzbee's statement, the alleged victim did not demand money. She requested confidential mediation. Demanding mediation is not the same as demanding payment. It's standard practice in civil litigation. Jay-Z said his only heartbreak was for his family, referencing his daughter, Blue Ivy, being old enough to see press coverage and ask questions. This detail reminded the public that Jay-Z is not just a mogul, but a family man facing an impossible conversation. 2 days later, Jay-Z attended the Mufasa premiere with Beyoncé and Blue Ivy, presenting a united front. 50 Cent responded. 50 Cent, whose real name is Curtis Jackson, also adds that he feels for Jay-Z's family amid the public legal fight. I don't know. I hope things are all right for him internally. At the crib, because in the statement they mentioned his Jay, being old enough to, cause she about 13, right? The comment appeared sympathetic on the surface, but coming from 50 Cent, it served as a reminder that the allegations existed and Jay-Z's family life was now affected. It was sympathy wrapped in cruelty. Jaguar Wright appeared on Piers Morgan's show to discuss the allegations. Her statements were incendiary. Tell me something. When you have a peanut butter jelly sandwich, if it's just peanut butter, it's just peanut butter. If it's just jelly, it's jelly. When you put it together, it becomes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and the taste is undeniable. You saying Jay-Z is peanut butter jelly? Peanut butter and jelly. Let's deal with the sandwich. This metaphor suggests their histories are intertwined in ways that implicate both. Jaguar Wright has made this argument repeatedly. You cannot examine one without examining the other. Their rise happened in parallel. Their parties overlapped. Their business interests connected. Their associates were shared. She also claimed that Beyoncé was losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day during this period, and that Beyoncé had not addressed the allegations publicly. Whether Beyoncé should address allegations against her husband is debatable, but the silence itself became part of the story, analyzed and interpreted as its own form of communication. She also called Jay-Z a drug dealer, referencing his own admission in his music that he sold drugs before his rap career. He has been open about this history, incorporating it into his artistic persona, the hustler who became a mogul. But Jaguar Wright's framing positioned his entire career as built on a criminal foundation. The accumulation of voices, Jaguar Wright on Piers Morgan, former artist questioning business practices, longtime associates revealing private moments, creates an environment where a documentary becomes increasingly plausible. Each new voice adds weight, each new claim adds texture. Each new detail adds potential content for a project that 50 Cent has signaled he is considering. What makes this
Civil lawsuits create discovery processes. Evidence must be produced. Depositions must be given. Information that was previously private can become part of the public record. Even if the lawsuit is ultimately dismissed or settled, the process generates documentation that documentary producers can potentially access. The pattern of fear. Is Jay-Z afraid of what 50 Cent might expose? The evidence suggests yes. One interview captured this dynamic perfectly. If Jay-Z would have did the song with Ja Rule, he would have got it like everybody else. When asked if he would have gone at Jay-Z, he stayed clear that if Jay-Z would have jumped on the track with John, you would have went at Jay. Honestly, who you think? This is crazy. That ain't nobody. He stayed clear that month. Jay-Z made a calculation. He chose not to involve himself in the 50 Cent Ja Rule conflict. He assessed the risk and decided it was not worth taking. He stayed on the sidelines when others were choosing sides. Even before 50 Cent had a documentary on Netflix, before social media made attacks instantaneous and permanent, Jay-Z recognized he was dangerous in ways that transcended typical rap beef. The fear, if it exists, is not irrational. It is based on observable evidence and historical patterns. 50 Cent has demonstrated capabilities few possess. He can produce content reaching mainstream audiences. He can sustain public attention for years without losing interest or momentum. He can gather information from sources who trust him. He can coordinate media campaigns that dominate news cycles. And he has no hesitation using these capabilities against anyone he perceives as vulnerable. Jay-Z's vulnerability in this moment is unprecedented. The allegations in the civil suit, regardless of their eventual resolution, have created an opening that did not exist before. His name is now associated with words he has never had to confront publicly. His family has been pulled into the conversation. His business empire, built on respectability as much as revenue, faces questions it did not face before. Will there be a documentary? 50 Cent has indicated he needs more before proceeding. More lawsuits, more people coming forward, more documented evidence that can withstand legal scrutiny. But he has indicated he is watching, he is collecting, he is waiting, he is doing what he has always done, letting pass while pressure builds, allowing his targets to wonder what he knows and when he will reveal it. The wall of protection that Jay-Z's wealth provided is developing cracks, and 50 Cent built his career on finding cracks and exploiting them ruthlessly. He found the crack in Ja Rule's image and destroyed his career with sustained attacks that lasted years. He found cracks in the stories of powerful figures and built documentaries exposing them to millions who never knew what happened behind closed doors. Now he has found a crack in Jay-Z's armor. The civil lawsuit opened it. The allegations gave it shape. The former associates gave it testimony. The public interest gave it an audience. The question is not whether 50 Cent will produce a Jay-Z documentary. The question is what will happen if he does, and what is already happening simply because everyone believes he might. The threat of exposure is itself a form of power. It changes behavior. It creates caution where confidence used to exist. Jay-Z must now consider with every public appearance how it will look if 50 Cent is compiling footage. This is psychological warfare, and 50 Cent excels at it. He learned it surviving the streets of South Jamaica, Queens. He refined it, battling rivals in the music industry. He perfected it in business negotiations. And now he is deploying it against the man who sits at the top of hip-hop's power structure. Jay-Z once seemed untouchable. He had transcended rap beef and industry politics. He was more businessman than rapper, more institution than individual, more brand than person. 50 Cent is bringing him back to earth. With every light comment, every joke, every interview, he reminds the world that Jay-Z is human, that Jay-Z has a past, that Jay-Z made decisions affecting people now willing to talk, that Jay-Z, for all his power, cannot control what 50 Cent chooses to do. This is the story of two titans. One built his empire through institutions, relationships, and influence. The other built his through independence, confrontation, and relentless will. They have circled each other for over 2 decades, their rivalry simmering beneath public neutrality. Now the temperature is rising. The neutral zone is shrinking. The confrontation that seemed avoidable is beginning to look inevitable. The stakes could not be higher. 50 Cent has the platform, resources, and track record. Jay-Z has wealth, influence, and legal teams. But one thing is clear. 50 is not backing down, and Jay-Z cannot make him. The only uncertainty is when, not if, the next chapter will be written. And when it is, the entire world will be watching. Thank you for watching.